Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Excuse me. It's not Tuesday. It's Wednesday morning, and I am live. We have changed our schedule because we are including a number of new people in our live streams, as you've probably noticed if you've tuned in this week. We've incorporated a bunch of our instructors now into the mix to create lots of new things, which is really cool. We've got stuff in Unity. We've got stuff doing some motion graphics. We got a lot of other cool things to come. So from now on, I'm only going to be doing one live stream a week, which is going to be on Wednesday mornings. So that's going to be different, which is fine with me. I'm really excited that we've got some new faces here to contribute some new content to our channel, which is very exciting. Thursday last week, I didn't stream. I made a mistake, and I teach at Iona College. I teach an entrepreneurship class, and this week is our final, which is a final presentation, and I was super busy with getting my students prepped for their final presentations and their pitches, and time got away from me, and I realized at 3:30 that I hadn't streamed it too. So that was my mistake. My class ends this week, so and obviously I've switched my day of streaming to Wednesday, so that shouldn't be a problem going forward. But I apologize for that. Totally my mistake. With being stuck at home, every day seems to kind of run into the next. So, my fault. At any rate, I'm very happy to be here with you all this morning. Oh, I think my mic's too loud. I'm very happy to be here with all of you this morning, working on a new Fusion 360 project. I had started tinkering around with this project on Thursday, and so I'm starting this morning sort of in the beginning stages of a new project that's already been that I've already begun. So at any rate, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing today. I, for the last 12 years, have been a fanatical motorcycle rider. I got my first bike. First of all, I learned to ride with my dad when I graduated college, which was pretty cool. He had never ridden before. So we learned to ride together, which was really, really fun. And we ride pretty regularly together still. We've been trying to get out on Sundays during this whole lockdown and quarantine and all that, which has been nice because I don't get to see him much, obviously, except through video chat. So that's been great. But at any rate, I've been a motorcycle rider for a long time. Used to be a big car guy. Always loved motorcycles, but never had one. Then I got a bike, and that was pretty much the end of that. My first bike was a little Yamaha Xt 250. Let's pull up an image of that. Hold on a second. Yamaha Xt 250. This was my first bike. This little baby Yamaha Dual Sport. I had it in white. This was exactly the one that I had. This exact bike in that color. Little air-cooled, single-cylinder, carbureted thumper. 250 cc's, super light, super low seat height, super torquey engine. Awesome bike to learn on. This bike was an absolute blast. And at that point, I didn't do any off-road riding. It just was the first bike that I got because it was inexpensive, easy to learn on, light. Plus, you have to love Japanese motors because they're absolutely bulletproof. I mean, you cannot kill the motor in an XT250. You'd really have to try. Never need valve adjustments, anything like that. They're amazing engines. Anyway, that was my first bike. Throughout the last 12 years, I've owned a couple of different bikes. I had a Yamaha Cruiser. I had a Harley. I had a sport bike. At a couple of other dual sport bikes. Now currently I ride a KTM 1090 Adventure R and a KTM Duke 390. The Duke 390's got a little single cylinder 390cc thumper engine. Probably the most fun bike I've ever ridden in my entire life. Absolutely awesome. And my KTM 1090 looks like this. This is my bike. I do a lot of adventure riding. I like going on-road and off-road. I like venturing long distance and discovering new places. This is up near Hunter Mountain. A couple years ago, I went for my very first solo camping trip on my bike. 2 nights up near Hunter Mountain. Very, very fun. So I found these trails near the campsite I was staying at and did a little exploring. I had just gotten that bike not too long before then, and the bike's a lot bigger than an XT250 and any other bike I've ridden off-road, so it's a little intimidating, but since then I've gotten pretty good at riding a big bike off-road. At any rate, I figured since I completed previously this single-cylinder piston mechanism with a crank. This was a very fun project. It took me like 5 attempts at making this. Finally successfully did it. I haven't 3D printed this yet because my Prusa is giving me some issues. I'm sorry to say it's been a little neglected. But at any rate, we're going to get that running. I'm going to print this, and hopefully we can get this mechanism working, which I'm super excited about. But at any rate, I figured, since I love motorcycles and I have a bike with a decent-sized V-twin engine, I thought maybe let's make a V-twin mechanism, which is pretty cool. So this was my beginning project. Before we get into what I've done so far, I have a little cross-section image of a V-twin engine here. Now, this is a really old one, but this is the basic concept. You have a cylinder and a cylinder in the cylinder heads, and then there's a large crank, and the cylinders are connected with a linkage. So this is fixed, and then there's a linkage with a hinge here that connects to a linkage here. And so as this goes around, it pulls this piston down, and as it comes around, this piston will come down, and as we come back around, this piston will go up, and as we come back around, this piston will go up. There are several other ways of having the pistons connected to the crank. For example, let's see if we can find an example of something with a different firing order. Let's see if this gives us any information. No, this is the same kind of idea. Here you can see the valves. This is a pretty cool cross-section. At any rate, I'm not looking to make anything technologically advanced because I'm no engineer and I don't know all of the inner workings of a V-twin mechanism very well. So I'm going to keep it simple. I just want the thing to work. I'm sure there's going to be better options out there. So I've got the linkages to the pistons hooked up to the crank at a single point. You can also have them offset, so it's a different firing order. You can have them fire evenly. You can have them fire in a shorter sequence. I don't really care about that. I'm going to try and keep it simple because I don't know that I'm capable of actually finishing this project. So we're going to keep it really simple. The other thing is, with a V-twin engine, the degree of separation between the pistons is important. Depending on that degree, it will change the characteristics of how the motor feels in terms of vibration and moving mass. So, for example, a Harley-Davidson, which has a lot of shake to it, that's engineered into it. It's got a pushrod engine and it's got rumble. That's got usually a 45 or 50 degree separation between the pistons, so there isn't quite an even distribution of mass. So you do get some of that rocking and rolling of the engine as the pistons fire to give it that American muscle characteristic. The exact opposite of that would be a Ducati, which has a 90 degree firing angle, which would be a much more even feel. It would be a smoother feel, and you'd get less rocking and rolling of the engine in that case. I've decided to go with a 75 degree V-twin engine because my KTM 1090 has a 75 degree V-twin engine in it. It's the LC8 engine. Engine is absolutely amazing, with one caveat: it kicks off a ridiculous amount of heat because it's got a lot of power. That's a KTM thing. KTM's an Austrian bike. Little tidbit of information. Austrian motorcycle. Absolutely love them. At any rate, I'm going with the 75 degree separation of the pistons. And so what I've done thus far is not very much. I'll take you through. So I basically drew up a crank. Here's our crank. And of course, I've separated these out into all different components in case I want to try and simulate some motion later. But at any rate, I have a number of components here. So first thing I have is I have piston 1 and piston 2 as two separate components. Let's shut everything else off except these. So in the piston, what I've done is I've made a little pocket joint there. Probably not the ideal setup for a real engine, but I don't care. I just want this to function. And when we've got our linkage, the linkage slips into that little pocket, and basically we'll be able to put a pin in this to hold this in place. Now, again, there's going to be a little head of the pin on both sides going through. The other thing that's going to be really interesting is the head of the pin is going to need to be curved. That's going to be interesting. But because we've done this in separate components, I think it shouldn't be too hard. So I've done that. I've made the linkage arm slot into that. We can put our other piston and linkage on, and you can see I've done the same thing. These are 75 degrees apart. And then I've got a crank down here, and basically I'm going to set up the linkage down on the bottom. And it looks like I may actually need to move the crank down a little bit. so that those two linkage arms come together and meet at a nice central point. There'll be a hinge here and a hinge here, and then we'll have a hinge on the bottom. And that way, when this turns, these two linkage arms can rotate around, and that will cause the pistons to move up and down. Eventually, what I'm planning on doing is designing some cylinder heads that have little cutouts so you can see the pistons moving up and down inside of them. And then I'll probably have a base. So we'll have a base, we'll have the V-twin, and we'll have a hand crank that will power our V-twin motor. Now, normally, the V-twin motor runs, and that's then that crank is then connected to a linkage to the transmission, and then the transmission is connected to the final drive, which is either a chain of belt or a shaft, and that's what turns the rear wheel. So the engine creates the power. The power is transferred through a series of different steps: transmission, the primary, the transmission, the final drive, so on and so forth. We're going to run this in reverse. So we're going to be the power, and that's going to run power through the V-twin to get the pieces to move. So not that that makes any difference to this project. I just thought I'd share that. So we'll basically have a hand crank connected directly to the crank to get this thing to move. Probably on the outside. There'll be a linkage of some kind. So at any rate, that's where we're at. So I think the first step of what I'd like to do is I think I might want to move this crank down just a small amount and then pull these out. And then we'll design the hinge on this part. Then I think I might take a stab at the pins. And then I might take a stab at doing the cylinder heads. But I have no idea. We don't... Flying by the seat of my pants today. But I got all the preliminary stuff done, so I don't have to bumble around with measurements and angles and all that. Basically, what I had done originally is I had created some sketches. Now, I moved things around, so these are going to look really weird. But I had created some sketches. Let's just turn them all on so you can see. I created some sketches to figure out where the crank was going, and I had pulled the 70-degree point down to the center of that. That might have been wrong. I should have gotten the 70-degree point from the... Well, I'm going to move the whole crank down, so it doesn't make a difference. But at any rate, I used some guides. I drew some guides to help me figure out those angles. Probably would have been a better way to do that, but that's okay. So, to start out with, I think let's take this crank and let's move it down slightly. That looks good. So, there's my crank. Very good. Then what I'd like to do is let's get linkage 1, and we're going to basically... Let's just activate that, and we'll push-pull this down 160. Actually, you know what? Whoa, that was 1,000. That's not going to work. Let's bring it down 155, and then we'll do the same here. All right, cool. So now I've got the linkages to a point where I now, on the crank, can draw a nice circle, and then I need to figure out how I'm going to connect these. How am I going to connect these? Well, at any rate, what I think we should do... What I'm a little perplexed about is figuring out... Let's get this top view here. Something also looks off about this, but... I'm sure something's wrong with this, but you know what? So be it. Let's pull this down a little bit more. Let's make it 160. And then we'll do the same with this. All right, beautiful. Okay, that's looking better. All right, so now what I think I'll do is I think I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to kind of eyeball it, which I probably should do. I probably should pull these to where they intersect and then find the center point, but forget it. Let's just keep it simple so we can keep this project moving. So we're going to sketch on this face. Capture position, that's fine. And I think we can probably eyeball this. I mean, if I go about here and I draw, let's make it like a 50. No, let's make it a 40. Let's make it a 30. See, I think we can work with this because now we can design some rings that fit around this that will... well, let's start with the sketch. I'm having some thoughts. You know, these are separate components. So I don't know if I can join these two components together. I probably should keep them as separate because I have to think about how these are going to fit around this. Maybe I can make offset rings. So the height of this is whatever the height is. Did I just draw that sketch on the wrong? No, I drew it on the crank. Okay, I just... Back up. I think what I can do is I can draw some offset rings around these to get them to work properly. So half the height of the bottom one will go on the bottom and half the height of the top one will go on the bottom. They may be flimsy, but I don't know. At any rate, what I think I'm going to do is... I think I'm going to make a hole. Because this needs to be assembled. This can't be all rigid. So now I have this hole here, right? And I think maybe what we can do is we can design a pin as a separate component that pushes through. So basically there'll be a cap and a pin, a 30 millimeter pin that, or it'll be 29.5 millimeters, that pushes through and comes up to a little bit more than the height of these, and then we can put a cap on the other side. I think that's what we'll do. So I should save this. Let us make a new component. New component. We're going to call this crank pin. The parent will be our assembly. Apparently you can nest components within components. So maybe there's a way to do this that way. I don't really know how to do that. I don't know the details of doing that. That might be a Lars Christensen question, but I don't know. We're going to figure it out. Okay, so I now have my crank pin, and I'm going to start a sketch on the face of this. Part of the beauty of working with components, first of all, components have their own timelines. Like you can see, I have just one item in my crank pin timeline, which was me creating this sketch. They have their own sketches. They have their own bodies, sketches, bodies, and origins. So they're all kind of these little self-contained units with their own geometry and all that. So it's really great. The other thing I love about components is that you can use other elements, other components in your assembly as guides for sketches, but they don't join together. Whereas if I didn't use components, if the pieces were touching, they'd become new bodies and they'd all get joined together. Don't want that to happen. So I can use the geometry here. So what we'll do is create a center point circle. We're going to make it 29.5 because I want to leave a little tolerance. I really should give a millimeter of tolerance, but whatever. So I've got this now, and let's grab our new sketch. And we're going to press pull it, and we're going to bring it up. Whatever the height of this is, which I actually don't recall. I think I made it negative. It should be negative 25. Is that right? No, see, that's sticking through negative 24. Oddly, I made it 24. I'm going to bring it 24 and a half. So I have just a little... Well, actually, that's not true. I need this to come out quite a bit more. Let's make it negative 30. Nope. Negative 40. Negative 35. See, I didn't write down those dimensions. There we go. That should be... That looks fine. Negative 30. Okay. So I've got that, which is good. Now, I think what I'd like to do is actually press pull this face down 0.5. Right, just to give a little teeny bit of tolerance. And then what I'll do is I'll draw a, like a pin end on that so it holds it in place. So we're going to sketch on this face. And we are going to make a circle. I think I'd made that 30-something in diameter, so let's just make it 40. That 440. That should work. All right, and then we will basically press pull these faces. Hold on. We'll bring that up 5. Way too much. Let's bring it up 3. Very good. And, of course, I have to fill at this edge because, you know, why not? Because it looks nice. Totally unnecessary. Okay. So now that I've got that done, what I need to do is I need to make a cap on this to hold everything in place. So I think that I need these to be... Yeah, let's make a sketch here. And we'll make a center point circle. And I'm going to make the hole in this. Let's just make it half the diameter. That's fine. And I think we can press this down about -10. Right? And now we have like a 10 millimeter hole going through this. I think that should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. Because worst comes to worst, I'll just glue the cap in place. And we can sketch on this face now. And I'll make a center point circle. Now, I made that 15 in diameter, so let's make this 14.5. You know what? Let's make it 14. Not 114. So that's great. So now I can take this, and I can pull this downward, and I'll bring it down. If I bring it down -10, let's bring it at -9.5. Right? Now it's a separate body. And actually, let's pull this up 0.5, so there's a little separation. Then I'll sketch on this. I ran into an issue last time with my single cylinder mechanism, which basically, let's see, I made this, I think, 30. 35? No, I made it 40. I ran into a situation last time where when I was drawing the pins to hold all the linkages and things in place, I didn't, so I have the outer part of the pin, and then there's a hole, and then there's the inner part of the pin, and I basically drew that and pushed it into that negative area. I pulled it too far down, and it connected it all as one body, and I wasn't able to 3D print it. Or at least when I went to export the STLs, they were all connected, so I would have to go back and fix that, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, there's my pin to hold the cranks in place. So let's save this, and let's view our entire assembly here. All right, great. So there's that part of this. Okay, great. So, next challenge. Let's get rid of the crank pin. And I need to back these linkages off a little bit. Let's back this linkage off. We'll do 155. No, let's make it 150. I'll do the same on this linkage. Select that component. We'll make it 150. Great. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with linkage number 1. This is going to be tough, but we're going to make it work. So I'm going to start with linkage number 1. We're drawing in that component, and I'm going to draw a sketch on this face. Right? And I'm going to make a circle of a diameter of, let's make it 32, right? We can make it 31. Okay. And then I'll make another circle. And we'll make that, what did I say, 32? Okay, let's do that. So I've got this now. And what I'm going to do is pull this up 5. Okay, cool. And now I need to make this connect to this. So I think what I'll do is I'll draw another sketch. All right, I have an idea. So let's sketch on this face. And I'm going to basically... Let's get the top here. And I think what I'll do... All right, let's try this. I'm going to do a 3-point arc. I'm going to start at this corner. Right? There. And then I'm going to bring this down to, let's say... here. And okay. And let's do the same thing on the other side. You have to forgive me, I am extremely allergied out. Oop. Because allergy season is coming around, so I can't breathe super well through my nose. So you may see me hanging out with my mouth open, catching flies. That's solely because I am Oh, see, this is... My perspective is weird on this. You know what? I'm going to undo this. I can't really breathe through my nose very well. That was the point of me telling that story. Odd story. All right, you know what? I have another idea. Let's sketch on this face. Once again, my angle is weird. All right, we'll do our best. All right. Got our Wolf and Raven on today. Always. Always Wolf and Raven. Always. Just gonna... There we go. Good. What we'll do is we'll come to here. I should have taken note of the, All right. I'm just gonna do my best with this. I don't want to go crazy. It might not be totally... It might not be totally exact, but you know what? It's gonna be good enough. That looks pretty good. All right. All right, and I need to connect these lines now. Hold on a second. Let's edit this sketch. All right. There we go. Oh, wow. All right, cool. There we go. So now I've got this little ring, right? Perfecto. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and I could probably, well, I'm going to leave it the way it is. I could probably connect this, or I can fill it this back or something. Yeah, maybe what I'll end up doing is drawing an arc or something to fill it that down. Oh. Huh. I think I have a problem here. I have a problem here. Well, that's all right. No problem. Let's get rid of the crank for a sec. The press pull this up. 0.5. There we are. And let's press pull this. So we brought that up. So that's 4. So this is -4, and that goes to 5.5. Let's bring it up 0.5. That should be about halfway. Okay, fine. All right, cool. Now, what we'll do now... Let me just save this really quick. See, you can see it's a little lopsided, but I really don't care. It's good enough. It's honestly fine. I probably could have done that another way, but whatever. Okay. So now we're going to switch to this linkage. And I'm basically going to trace this, but on this side. So I'm going to make a sketch here. Right? And I'm going to start with this and make my 31 millimeter circle. And then I'm going to make another 30, whatever it was, 30, 40, 45. Okay, there we go. And we'll finish that sketch. And now I'll basically press pull this up. I'm just going to bring it up 4.5 for now. And then I actually need to press the bottom up a little bit. I'll bring that up negative 0.5. I think I can bring this up a bit more. There we go. That's it. Okay, great. All right, so now I've got the ring. And so now, once again, I'll sketch on top of this. And we will make our little, I don't know, we'll make that 3-point arc thing again and push it down the 5, and then we should be good to go. All right, very good. Sorry, I got lost in my thoughts there for a minute. Let's do this. Let's get on the corner here. And I think we'll bring it to about here. Good. And then we'll do the same thing here. And again, I don't care how perfect this is. I'm just trying to... So somewhere around here. That's pretty off. I don't care. I'm going to go with it. Great. Finish sketch. And now basically... Yeah, it's not perfect, but I really don't care. Yeah, right? You can see that's pretty janky. Beautiful. Okay. So now, there we go. Look at that. See how they sit together on that? Oh, man, that's beautiful. And then, of course, I'll probably clean those edges up. In fact, we might as well just do that now. Let me save. How are we doing on time? Halfway through. All right, very good. Oh, boy. Let's, what am I on? I'm editing this one, so let's put a sketch on this face. And I think what we should do is I'll just make an arc. That's fine. I'll make a 3-point arc. And we'll basically grab from here to, so that would be, let's come out 15. Right, and then come to the joint, and we'll basically do that. And now this, I can press pull and get rid of, and I got a little arc there. That's fine. Right, cool. I got a little arc there. That looks nice. So we'll do the same thing here. So let's switch over to linkage number 1, make a sketch on this face, and I'll do the same thing again. I'll come in. Oh, my God, that's not connected. Oh, no. Oh, that's awful. All right, hold on a second. I hope this one's connected. It looked like it was. All right, what I'll do is I'll press pull this. That's fine. All right, these got connected. I sketched this one incorrectly. Whatever, it's fine. Because I'm going to make the little arc thing anyway. Wow, that was dopey. Okay, no worries. So, 3-point arc. Here. And we will come in. What did I do here? See that? That's the one. Let's just go with that. That works for me. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, stupid. All right. Stupid, stupid, stupid. All right. Okay. I'll tell you what, that KTM is really an incredible machine. I really love it. Like I said, I've owned a lot of bikes, and I really find that bike to be... Oh, we're going this way. There we go. That's it. I find that bike to be just such an enjoyable experience to ride. You know, every bike has a positive and negative, and it's got things that work well and things that don't work well. All right, good. Perfect. Okay. And, you know, at first you buy a bike because you like its style, right? Oh, is that beautiful? Is that beautiful or what? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's put the... Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We'll see if any of these constrict with each other. They shouldn't. It should say separate. Anyway, you buy a bike at first because you like its style. You like the way it looks. You know, those kinds of things. You like its color, you like its design, you like the engine. You know, but when you don't have a lot of riding experience, you don't know what fits you and what doesn't. So you buy it based off your looks, and it might be a bike that doesn't fit you. And it, unfortunately, sitting on it doesn't really give you a good indication. You could sit on a bike and it feels good, and then after 20 minutes of riding, you start feeling pressure points and things like that. I've had a couple bikes that just, they were perfectly fine. They just didn't fit me very well. And, it took a little bit of riding experience. I've ridden, well over 100,000 miles in total over the last 12 years. And, I know what works for me and I know what doesn't. I have some issues with my shoulders and neck. So, bikes that are really leaned over. Like I had a super sport bike. I had a Yamaha Xt. What an incredible machine. But, you're riding like in the fetal position, practically laying on your belly. And, that was, craning your neck while you're riding. It was such a great bike, but, it was not enjoyable to ride for a long time. You ride for an hour and then you need to get off and stretch. I've ridden for like 14 hours on my KTM 1090 with like minimal discomfort. I mean, that bike is it fits me well. It caters to all of my needs. The wind protection isn't the best in the world, but super smooth on the highway. I could sit on the highway all day. Super fun on twisty roads. If I see a cool dirt road, I can just ride on it. I mean, it just checks all the boxes for me. I absolutely love that bike. Riding with a passenger is great. Anyway, I absolutely love motorcycles. I like things with two wheels. I've been getting into mountain biking a lot lately. Maybe we'll design some mountain bike components. That would be cool. Anywho, I think what I'd like to do next, I'm really pleased with that. I mean, see those offsets where it all links together? I am really pleased with that. I bet you there's going to be some issues where I may need to cut a little bit more out when I actually print this. But, I mean, we got ourselves the beginning of a V-twin here. I mean, I am pretty psyched. So, what I think we'll do now is let's design the pins to hold this little joint in place, which is going to be interesting. I know what to do, though. It's not going to be hard at all. I know what to do. Okay, so let's start with linkage 1 is this one. So let's create a new component, and we'll call it linkage pin 1, and then we'll make linkage pin 2. I could copy and paste it, but if you copy and paste a component, changes to one component applies to the second one. So if I move one, the other one moves. So I think I'm better off just doing them separate. I think it's fine. I don't think it will be challenging. So we'll make a new component. This will be called Piston Pin 1. Okay? We're on Piston Pin 1. We're all set up there. Essentially what we'll do is make our simple, normal pin mechanism. Piece of cake. No challenge. The only difference is it needs to be curved. I mean, I could make it flat and just sitting on top, but where's the fun in that? Let's make it curved. It'll be awesome. And I know how to do it, I think. Great. So let's start with the inner parts, and then we'll do the outer parts. What's going to be interesting? Why don't we just sketch on this face? That's what we'll do. We'll sketch on this face. Very good. Here's a circle. We can make a circle. The question is, can we get the center point of it? I could do a 2-point circle. Oh, that's annoying. Is that... No, see, that's off-centered. All right, let's try a... All right, let's do a 2-point circle. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Here, hold on. I'm having an issue lining the circle up, so I have a better idea. Ready for this? Let's get rid of linkage 1, and I can sketch on this face, and then I can just push-pull either direction. That's the way. See, now I can get the center point of the circle. Lovely, lovely. I think it's 10, so why don't we make it 9.5, because we need to put some tolerances on. Finish sketch. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So now we're going to take this. Hold on. Let's get this selected properly. It's going to come up, and I'm just going to push it up to here. I'm just having a thought. Don't worry about me. All right. Let's just get the bottom part now. And let's bring this down. So, yeah, I recently discovered that I have, I knew about these, but I never actually did anything with it. There's an unbelievably nice mountain bike park right near my apartment. It's like 10 minutes away. And there's maybe like 8 miles of trails. I mean, it's nothing insane, but the trails are great. And what's awesome is they're really technical. And, bear with me here. I have an idea. Ready for this? They're very, very technical and, have a good mix of... Hey! That looks like a curved top to me. So sweet. Okay. They have a very good mix of, like, downhill, uphill, technical rocks, drops, great trails. So... 10 minutes away, throw my bike on the bike rack and go there. Awesome. The closest place to ride my motorcycle off-road is not that close. So, it's... Sorry, I'm having a thought. All right, we'll do the other side first. Okay. So it's nice to be able to, practice my off-roading skills so close to home. And quite honestly, the skills are very much the same. I mean, the body position is the same. Obviously, I'm not using a motor. I'm using my legs, but the body position is all the same. And, and it's all similar in terms of skills. So, it's quite fun. All right, there's our curved pin. Lovely, lovely. It worked out great. Piston 1. All right, great. So there's the center part. Okay. Just put the crank on for a sec. Cool. All right. No, I need the piston pin. Okay. Let's get rid of everything. Oh, I started on piston 2. Oh, well. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Really fun. A lot of uphill sections, a lot of downhill sections. Really good for working on fitness. It's great. It's just such an enjoyable experience. Can I sketch on the top of this? All right, so here's what I'm going to have to do. Let's bring an offset plane up so it's... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put this wherever for now, okay? And... sketch. Okay. Yeah, great time. So let's make this 15... Why is my zooming so slow? That's annoying. Oh. All right, there we go. All right, what's messing me up here? Why am I? It's because I'm... All right. All right, I actually need this to come up quite a ways. So let's make this 5. No, let's make it... Yeah, I'm going to make this 5. Okay. And then what I'm going to do... Check this out. So we're going to hide this. Ooh. That's not going to work. We got to make this taller.
What was that?
Oh. All right, I have 15 minutes left. Sounds like somebody just tried to get into my apartment. That's weird. Got the door locked. I'm just going to make this really big for now. All right, and now what we'll do is I'm going to actually push-pull this up a little bit. That's too much. Hearing all kinds of weird noises. Totally okay. All right, let's see if this cuts this into two separate bodies. There's the head of the pen. Beautiful. All right, so now I should have this, and that is going to get removed. Okay. Good, good, good. Let me just make sure somebody's not trying to get into my apartment right now. Nope. Okay. So now, can I offset this? Nope. Cancel. What I think I can do... Huh. Oh, you know what I needed to do? Let me undo that. Undo all that. And let's get these sketches turned off. What I'm going to need to do is turn on the piston. What I need to do in this case is actually trace this exact thing and cut that off. Okay. Easy. All right, so we'll do the same thing again. I actually want to cut the exact shape of this. Finish, right? And then I'll hide the piston. So then I've got the body here. Ah, this is going to work out great. So now I can take this and basically do that. Done. Okay, so now if I put this back on, it's nice and flush. And then what we can do... This is obviously too tall, so... 8, 5. That looks pretty good. And once again, we can do a nice filleting of the edge. Too much. There it is. Okay. So now, there's part of a pin. Ho ho! What do you think about that? Woo! Okay. Let's, I think we'll have time to finish up the other pin, and that'll probably be it for today. So let me, get rolling here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to need to do is make a hole in this. So what that means is, all right, I'm on the right component. Let's make a offset plane, and I'm just going to bring it above because actually, why don't I try and get it? That should be good. That'll work. Okay, so now I can sketch on this face, and I've got myself a nice circle. So we made this, I think it was 9.5. So why don't we make this 5? That should be quite fine. And let's press that in. -10. Looks good enough to me. Right on. Okay, so now we'll do another sketch. And this can be... Actually, you know what? Let's undo that. Let's make this 6. And then we can press pull this in, -10. And then we can make a nice sketch here. Do this. Do this. We'll make this 5.5. And then that can get press pulled in -9.5 because that was the wrong thing. Oh, wait a minute. Is that sketch at the bottom? Oh. Oh, boy. What's going on here? What's going on here? I'm all out of whack. Okay, great. There we are. Oh, Wolf and Raven. You are very good. Where was that construct I made? Huh? Alright, whatever. I made a hole in it, right? Hold on a minute. Maybe I need to turn the sketch on. Alright, so we'll make a sketch on here. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. Excellent. Finish sketch. So now I have another sketch that I can press, pull down at -9.5. Great. Okay, so that now means that I need to use this again. So body number 1 goes, and that stays. Because I want to... Yes, okay, very good. Body 1 goes. All right, so now we take this, we press pull, we get rid of this. So I learned this from my friend Lars, that Fusion 360 only cuts things that are visible. So you can use other components to draw out the geometry, and then, oh man, awesome. And then hide them, and it won't cut them. Absolutely awesome. All right, this... Oh, shoot, hold on. No, you know what? That's okay. Redo. Okay, great. So now comes the next tricky thing, which is I need to do the head once again. And I'm going to do it the same exact way. I'm really tickled with how nice this came out. I'm really so pleased. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring our piston back, and I'm going to create an offset plane, and I'm just going to draw this wherever, like I did before. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to hide this and this and this, and we'll make a nice sketch. And we are going to make this, I think I made it 15. Is that what I made it? I think I made it 15. Yep, there it is. Let's actually pull this down slightly. Okay. Such a great album. Just love this album. All right. We'll do our 3-point arc, match that, shave the bottom. How are we doing on time? All right. I think I'm only going to finish this one pin. It's okay. There it is. Finish sketch. I can hide this. I can take this and press pull. And this goes like that. Lovely. All right, so now, if I put piston 2 on, oh, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let's get these other bodies back on. Okay, that's the one I need. Okay, very good. Oh, man, is that cool or what? And there's the pin that, like so. These are all separate. Lovely. Okay, so let's put piston 2 on. And first things first, let's bring this down. That looks about right. Now I gotta bring it up one more. That's it. That's it. That's our pin. Okay. So let's take a look at everything here. Everything's hidden. Let's turn it all back on. Boop, 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 boop. All right. So I've got my lovely pin that holds my cranks together. I've got these lovely, lovely curved pins that hold my piston, the linkage for the piston in place. I am so happy with that. And of course, the way that this is designed, these linkages can swing freely within this notch, which is great. Now, I'm going to have to do that again. I wonder if I can copy the bodies and then move them to another component. Let's quickly see if I can do that. So let's make a new component called Piston Pin 2. Okay? And what I'm going to do is let's go to this. These need to be one body. I need to join these together. That's one. And then these need to be one body. All right, that's better. Now I have this and this. All right, so if I take this, and I take this, and I select move, and I make a copy, and I pull it out. Now I've got... what? Oh my goodness. These are contained in my new piston because I selected them. Whoa, that's so ridiculously cool. Okay, so I need to rotate and place them. Well, we should know the rotation because if that's lined up there, that should be 75 degrees difference, right? So let's grab these and move them, and we will rotate them 75 degrees. That should be that there, right? That should work. And now I should be able to move these. I wonder if I can center it. So if I grab this, and I grab the align tool, and I align off of this, and that. Wow, 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 this is awesome. I can't believe that this worked. I can't believe that that worked. That is so cool. Put the, let's just see for a second here if I go to, all right, it's got to go up 0.5. Huh. Why is that looking weird? So, something's looking funny. See what I'm saying? Something's looking funny here. Maybe the rotation was off. I may end up just doing these again. I don't really like the way that those look. I'm going to make a comment really quick. Remake pins for Piston 1. All right, there's my comment. Okay, so I think I'm going to call it here. Let me just save this guy. All right, it's uploading my comment. I don't know why it's taking so long to upload like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. At any rate, all right, so we're done here. So save. Oh, it's all saved. Okay, awesome. So I think we are in really good shape. We've got some linkages made. Let me just shut off some sketches. All right, there it is. So we're off to a good start. I've got pistons. I've got nice linkages all set up and ready to go. I'm going to remake these pins in my own time. I'm not going to do that next week. So next week, I think what we'll do is we'll come up with the mechanism for how this crank actually works. And we will go from there. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was a fun project. I think this one's going to work. I'm feeling a little bit more confident. That I've learned a little bit more about Fusion 360 and made a lot of mistakes. So this is going to be great. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you found this an interesting project. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. We release a lot of great content on our channel. We do our project streams every day of the week. We do tech tips every day of the week. All kinds of cool other content. So definitely hit the subscribe if you like our stuff. And check out the DAE.com if you'd like to learn about Fusion 360 or any other piece of creative software. We have online workshops, private lessons and classes for all ages, not just kids. So if you're interested in doing an intro into Fusion 360, I would be glad to help you with that. So check out our website and get in touch. And I appreciate so much that you tuned in. Have a great day.